Hey guys, I want to kind of go over what I hope to get done in the next few videos and kind of what I've been doing since I haven't been making videos and I'm moving along with my truck. That's actually my brother's truck there, but that's his project. So here's mine, here's what I'm working on. LS Swap 1980 K5 Blazer, and I'll go over some of the things that I'm hoping to get done tonight, tomorrow, the next few days. Here's my standalone harness. I did all this myself. I put my 4-wire setup, fuse box with a couple relays, did all that myself. I've got a channel that I was watching. I believe the guy's channel is You Can Do It Too. I would encourage you to look him up. He's what gave me the confidence to do my own, and a lot of good information the way that he does it. I would definitely encourage you to go check that out. I've got my rear window harness wires for under the dash. I've got my bulkhead wired, and I've got to lay it in and try to get it ready to hook to my standalone harness. Got my spider vent tube. If you're taking bolts out of something, mark and label them, put them in a bag so you know where they go. I actually had to go to the junkyard today to get those because I can't find my other ones. But oil pressure and oil sending unit, I've got to get that in today. Got this gauge adapter set, or well, it's a fitting adapter set, and I can get you some numbers on that. I got this at the junkyard. All it is an elbow for like a 90, and I got this at the junkyard. I think that's 40 bucks for this. If you buy it new, I'm gonna give it a shot. I went ahead and bought that one, I think for $14. It's not the one that it's called for, but I'm gonna give it a try to see if it'll work with my gauge. Anybody that's ever looked for one knows you can't find them. The intermittent delay switch you can buy, but you can't get the module. I've not been able to find one. All of them are out of stock. Found this combo here in the salvage yard. I've got to clean it up, but found that today. Pretty good score. I've got an e-brake cable that I need to put in. New intake manifold gaskets. Some of my vacuum stuff are the PCV valve and brake booster. Got my intake, took it apart, cleaned everything up. New O-rings and seals in the on the injectors. New seal up front. I've got a EGR and EVAP block on the top and the sides. I won't be using those with my swap. I've got an old alternator that I'm probably going to have to put on for now until I can get a new one. And I've got a power steering pulley that I'm going to try to get put on. But that's kind of what you see there. That's kind of what I'm hoping to get done in the next couple videos. And we'll take it from there. And maybe I can show you guys a few things and kind of follow along, see how everything's going with my swap. So if you like the videos, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. Hey YouTube, what I'm doing here now is I'm going to put this steam vent on, steam tube, and when you do these, you want to make sure that you get some of the new grommets, new seals, and you want to make sure you got all 4 of your bolts. I'm going to put that on, and then I'm going to try to put my oil sending unit on after that, and then we'll try to sit the intake manifold down on there and make sure everything will clear. So let's get started here. You want to make sure that your mating surface on your motor, or on your heads here, is clean. Make sure that that's good to go. You want to go under this knock sensor harness, slide that into place, set your bolts down on there, try to get them kind of started by hand. sure everything goes on nice and snug. You may have to bend them just a little bit. Some of these things, when you take them off, they kind of move around a little bit. But I'm going to take and just kind of snug these down just a hair with an impact. I'm not going to tighten them, but just kind of run them down. Just save a little time. And I'll finish up with the ratchet. Kind of snug those up really good. There's probably some torque specs on these, but I'm not going off of that. I've done quite a few of them, so I know about where they need to be. Get those good and snug on there. What I have here for my oil sending unit is an adapter, and I can put the part number in the comments or in the link. It has a crush washer on it, a little aluminum washer, and I get a part number also for my sending unit. I'm going to use my factory gauges. It's a 1980 K5. I'm going to use my factory gauges. This isn't the sensor or the oil sending unit that I've seen everybody else run, but I'm going to give it a shot. Some people say this one was for a dummy light. Some say that it will actually work the gauge. I'm not sure really which way it'll go yet, but it's not really something I want to have to come back and do later on and redo, but I'm going to give it a try and kind of go from there. Maybe I'll have some luck and it'll work. Everybody's doing the 90 degree and the 45 degree angle adapters so that they can put their other sending unit on. Let me grab this up and I'll show you. This is the one that everyone else is running, and probably I'll wind up putting that on there. I picked this stuff up today. This is just a more or less kind of an angle. It's not really a 90, it's not really a 45. But you can put that in there in the back of the block and that'll clear your intake manifold. But I'm going to give it a shot with this smaller sending unit. Maybe it'll clear. We'll find out here in a little bit when I set the intake on there, but I'm going to go ahead and get this put in here. Got some tape over my hole. You don't have to put any thread lock or anything like that, or a thread sealant on the first fitting, the adapter fitting, because it's got the crush washer on it. So we're good there. Tighten that up. Get it good and snug. Come back along. You do want to put a little bit of Teflon tape on there. Everybody says, oh, don't do that, it's not going to ground, you're not going to get the signal. Well, I've also seen people that didn't put it on there and they had a leak, oil leak on the back of their engine, and they were wishing that they had went ahead and put something on there. Once you get that tight, those threads are going to grab and it's going to get a ground. I'm pretty confident that it'll be fine with the thread locker on there. We'll take and tighten that up. Using an old ragged crescent wrench for this. You don't want to over tighten this stuff, but you do want to get it good and snug, just to be sure that you don't have any leaks, just to be sure that you do get a good ground. Again, you don't want to over tighten. Get it good and snug though. Alright, that feels pretty good. Alright, the next thing, before I yank this tape off of here, I'm going to take something, just kind of wipe the dust and dirt. This thing's been sitting for a little bit. I don't want any of this stuff to fall down in my motor. So, just kind of knock some of this trash off here that's set on top of it. And we'll peel the tape. This may be a mess, but we will see. I had a whole bunch of tape on here that I had to wind up peeling off of here, and it took me a little longer than expected, so I stopped the other video. I'm going to start new with this one, putting the actual intake manifold on here. When you do this, if you've got your intake off, you may want to go ahead and replace your knock sensors and knock sensor harness. If you're doing a rebuilt motor, you've probably already replaced those things, but anytime you take your intake manifold off, you want to double check those and make sure you put RTV around the new grommets here when you put in the new ones, or even reinstall the old ones. But something else to consider, I'm in a shop right now. It's pretty warm in here. Sweating a little bit. I've got a nice fan over here, but while I'm doing this, since the internals of the motor could be compromised if something were to blow down into my intake holes on the heads, I've turned the fan off. That, and I'm doing the video, you probably wouldn't be able to hear me with that fan on, but that's something else to keep in mind if you're outside, or if you've got a fan blowing on you and you've got trash or something in this valley. You don't want that stuff blowing down in your motor, so you may turn your fan off for a little bit and do this and then kick it right back on. So new gaskets, it's got these little tabs here. Before you set this on there, or before you set the intake on there, you want to make sure that you put those on and just kind of make sure you know which way they go, make sure they're the right ones and they're lined up correctly, and go from there. You don't want to just throw them on there. Some of the other ones, they actually snap to the bottom of the intake. Those are really good to have, but these came with my rebuild kit, so this is what I'm using. Lay those on. I've already test fit my intake to make sure that my oil pressure sensor, oil pressure sending unit will clear, and everything else looks good, all my lines and stuff. So we're going to set this on and try to get her bolted up. Nice and easy on there. All my injectors have new O-rings. Got a fly buzzing around me. All my injectors have new O-rings. Everything has been cleaned. All my old injectors were cleaned up really nice. Took a little while to get that done. The bolts here that I'm putting back down in the intake, the seals on those looked really good, so I'm just reusing those. I'm going to go through now and just kind of snug these down a bit. I believe that's an 8mm. Just going to make sure that they're all started good before I put any real pressure on them. Double check and just kind of look over, make sure everything's lined up. You want to make sure that your harness for the knock sensors isn't laying up under the intake where it's bolting up. Look down your valley here. You can reach your hand in there and kind of move it around, make sure it's not bound up by anything, make sure it's not pinched or mashed under the intake. Go through and get all these started here. Go on, fly. This is just a stock truck intake. Cleaned it up, painted it, tried to make it look good. That's all it is, just a little bit of spray paint. Stock throttle body, I think it's a 78mm off of a truck. I can't remember what they call those injectors, but they're 99 to 03 or 99 to 02 injectors. Nothing spectacular, but they'll do what I'm doing. Work for what I'm doing. On fly. There's torque specs on these. You don't want to over tighten them. There's a sequential order that they recommend you go in. I've done quite a few of them, and no time has it ever mattered as long as I didn't over tighten them and crack the intake and cause myself any grief there. I'm gonna run these down a little bit more with the impact here, just snug them up. Don't be dumb and put an impact on it and break it. You just want to snug these down enough to where the seals are flattened out pretty good, and then come back along with the ratchet and snug them on up by hand to finish them. Just get those running down for time's sake, really. Save a little time. If you like the videos, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you think. If you've got any suggestions or anything that I'm doing wrong, or that you know a better way or a different way, let me know what it is. I don't consider myself a professional by any means, but I'm not a dummy either. So don't ask my wife, she might tell you different. Just gonna snug these up, nothing spectacular. When you're doing a job like this, again, make sure you're using good stuff. New gaskets if you need them. If you're not sure if you need them and yours don't look all that great, go ahead and replace them. This isn't something you want to have to do over and over. Kind of one of those, do it one time and be done with it. If you've got to spend a little extra money, of course, if any of you are doing an LS swap, you've spent plenty of money and you're going to cut corners wherever you can. I've done the same thing. I've gone to the junkyard and gotten quite a few parts to save money. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to save money on that end of it, then go ahead and spend the money and buy good gaskets and good seals. That way you're not having to come back and redo it later. So, well, there's the intake, and it's on there. And the next video, I think we'll probably maybe get into some wiring, or I may stick that old alternator on here just so that I'll have it to hold my wires, so I can kind of fish everything through and see how my wiring is going to turn out for my standalone harness. So again, if you like the videos, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.